I care about accuracy. I would not like Chaos Marine cosmetics. All right, so I don't know what is going on, but recently we have been seeing a lot of hot takes, and I do think this is an interesting one considering that we are going to get Chaos Marine cosmetics soon. We are going to get a new Chaos mode. The new PvP mode will be centered around Chaos, and I believe we're getting Chaos cosmetics with that. And with that said, I believe there's a fair amount of people who want to see those Chaos Marine cosmetics in operations as well. So we're going to go in to see how people react to this one, because ultimately I imagine this is going to be a very divided issue in the sense that a lot of people have been asking for Chaos cosmetics since launch. And not only that, since now that we have a Chaos mode and we are getting Chaos cosmetics, I believe this is definitely something that is possible. We could possibly see Chaos cosmetics in Siege mode. Now, the devs themselves said they weren't interested in having Chaos in Siege mode because obvious lore implication things. So I kind of wanted to see how the community reacts to this one. If we see Chaos cosmetics in operations, do you think that ruins the lore of the game? Do you think that ruins lore accuracy of the game? I mean, it does, but does it actually ruin anything? Does the way our Marines look really matter that much? We will see. We will see. But yeah, let's finish this post. We do have a very familiar face to see here. Yep, it's the guy standing up. We all see the guy standing up. I am part of the minority that enjoys immersion in video games. Sure, there's a lot of things that aren't realistic or consistent to Warhammer 40k lore, like 40k lore has ever been consistent, but Saber has done enough for me to suspend my disbelief. Fighting alongside actual Chaos Marines would straight up shatter that suspension, though. Yeah, I do like the way they detailed this. Ultimately, they are an enjoyer of being immersed in video games. I'm not too sure you're part of the minority there for that one. I think everyone wants to get immersed in the game they're playing in some way or the other. But yeah, in this game, I could kind of see where having a Chaos Marine as a brother, I can see how that could definitely destroy your immersion. I could understand that. I mean, this game obviously though already has like chapters fighting with other chapters, and it might not be the most common thing for 40k lore to see like an Imperial Fist fighting with a Salamander or a Black Templar fighting with like Blood Ravens or something, Blood Angels. I'm not even, dude, we need legitimately, we need a Raven Guard champion skin, man. Whenever we talk about cosmetics, dude, that Raven Guard chapter masters, figure, dude, it looks so sick. You get like these feathered capes and stuff. It's sick. We need that. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the lore, you already have chapters fighting with other chapters. So, I mean, I guess this really depends on how people feel. I definitely wanted to see the comments kind of... At first, by the way, this post I saw yesterday, it had like 20 comments, maybe 30 comments, and like no upvotes, but now there's a whole bunch of upvotes. So I guess there's at least a handful of people who actually aren't interested in Chaos Marine cosmetics. Now, for me, I'm pretty sure the Chaos Marine cosmetics will only be PvP. It should be PvP only. However, I can imagine, once they add it into the game, there's likely to be a few people who are interested to see that expand. So if that is something that would ruin your experience, seeing somebody play as a Chaos Marine in your operations, let me know in the comments. I think this is definitely one of those, this is one of those hot takes that I feel like a lot of people either, have a strong stance for or a strong stance against. I'm not too sure there's too many people who are in the middle ground here. I am basically in the middle ground in the sense that I would like Chaos Marine cosmetics, but as far as operations go, I could definitely see myself kind of avoiding looking like a Chaos myself for operations, but I don't mind what other people do for the most part. Dude, touch grass. It's ops, man. Sheesh. Maybe a lore accurate mode so you can play with the other 50 or so purists. Take a hike. Okay, so... all right. Yeah, obviously this is a comment that got downvoted. But yeah, dude, I really don't think the minority in this game are the people who are trying to get immersed. I think everyone is one way or the other trying to get immersed. However, for some people, Chaos Marine cosmetics are not going to, break their immersion. So when it comes to 50 or so purist, I'm not too sure if that's the case. I'm not too sure this was even a purist post to begin with. I think they just had a line that they wanted to, they wanted to draw a line and just let people know that if they saw Chaos Marine cosmetics in operations, their immersion's breaking. Now, I think for me, I probably wouldn't be using Chaos Cosmetics in operations. I not as much as the immersion. I guess immersion is kind of a factor, but yeah, I just like I like Chaos Marines. They look cool in PvP, but in operations, I kind of just like what I have now. I guess it really depends. If there's like a really cool shoulder pad or something from Chaos, I'd probably find a way to use it. However, yeah, for the most part, I like the way I look. I don't really need Chaos Marine cosmetics. But yeah, if I was to get any sort of cosmetics into the game, we all know Raven Guard Chapter Master, that would be pretty sick. But yeah, this dude does not need to touch grass. I think this was a pretty interesting take because people have been asking for Chaos Marine cosmetics for a long time. So that's why I think seeing somebody like, you know what, I don't want to see Chaos Marine cosmetics. And not to mention, they also use the standing guy, so I think there was definitely an interesting take there, but I don't think they need to touch grass. I see that a lot of comments are in Stage 2. Why do you care? Stage 4 is already happening. Let it happen. That or OP's argument is twisted to change meaning because some people can't let go of my favorite chapter. I agree with OP. Unless there are special ops tailored to be played by Chaos Marines, they shouldn't be added. Cosmetics for PvP Marines? Sure, but not in operations. Accuracy to the lore is still important no matter what people say. Alright, well, I mean, that's a fair point. I feel like when it comes to the comment section, there definitely has been a lot of pushback. A lot of people definitely just want to see customization, but then you do see a fair amount of people like this commenter who are, kind of supporting the original poster's original point of saying that some things are okay for lore accuracy breaking, but like when it comes to operations, fighting alongside Chaos in Chaos missions, may be a little immersion breaking. I mean, that's fair. I think for me, though, what would be kind of weird, I guess, is like hearing voice lines out of somebody who's wearing Chaos armor. You know what I mean? I guess that's fine, ultimately. It really depends on how you feel about the lore accuracy and how important you think it is in the game. I think, yeah, it really depends. It would be kind of weird. It would be, like, you have to admit, it would be extremely weird if we had 2 Space Marines and then like 1 Chaos member of operations, and like say for whatever reason the devs were able to do this, and they had like banter. You have to admit, seeing like Valius have banter with the Chaos Marine, like all buddy, come on, like that would be pretty lore breaking and incredibly immersion breaking. However, it would also be insanely weird and probably turn off a lot of people as well. So, like you could say, sure, why not? Just have Valius have banter with the Chaos Marine. It's like, come on. At a certain point, lore accuracy does matter, and I feel like that example is probably the most egregious of where it's like, oh wow, that's gross. No, I do not want to see Decimus like have a buddy joke with a Chaos Marine. No way would I like to see that. That would be insane. However, obviously that is an extreme example. The devs already said they weren't going to do that. But I make that point to just kind of say, like, yes, lore accuracy does matter to an extent. You know what I mean? So, like, you shouldn't be surprised that people don't want to see Chaos customization in operations. However, I do think that would be a little bit easier to shrug off, considering we still would have the banter. So even if there's a Chaos, even if there's a visual Chaos Marine, underneath all that, they still are, a Space Marine, an Ultramarine in any sense. You know what I mean? It would still be Straybon, even if he had Chaos armor. I don't think there's any problem with giving Chaos cosmetics to PvE. Some people already customize their Marines like Chaos Marines. I made my Marine a Son of Horus, which I believe is Heresy. There isn't lore accuracy right now, especially considering some people drip their Marines out in fancier gear than some of the highest ranks when they're not even close to those ranks in lore. Alright, so when it comes to like the ranks of our characters, I do believe we went through enough to say that, like, hey, you know what? We might be at a point where our characters are getting an upgrade, a ranking adjustment. They probably are rising the ranks after they deal with the Trigon Prime, the Hive Tyrant. You know, they're fighting Chaos. It's only 3 men. Like, when it comes to operations, I think the Ultramarines we have right now, when it comes to the squad we have in operations, I do believe they're due for a ranking adjustment at the very least. They should definitely be rising the ranks with what we experience in the game. So, I mean, as far as like what they're decorated with, if it really matters to their ranking, I'm able to shrug that one off because I think ultimately, you know, they did hard siege mode, you know, so they deserve some sort of ranking adjustment in a sense. You're completely fine in not using those cosmetics, but there are plenty of people who would enjoy using them regardless of accuracy. This is my opinion on the matter anyway. Hey, appreciate your opinion. Dude, I mean, that's a fair way to look at it. I think they definitely, most people are reasonable about this, but yeah, there are some people who are just like, well, just play in solo mode, or, you know, lore accuracy doesn't matter at all in this game. It's like, you definitely see extremes from which way you look at this. Depending on which way you look at this, I feel like ultimately though, this probably might not be a big deal. I'm pretty sure the devs don't see themselves adding chaos customization in operations at the moment. They could though. So I think ultimately it is pretty funny seeing people like really committed to their stance of lore accuracy one way or the other, if they, you know, don't think it's important at all, or if they think it's very important and it shouldn't be touched at all in this game. I do think there's good examples for each way you look at this. Like, on one hand, obviously, if you're playing operations with a Chaos Marine and you had banter with a Chaos Marine, that would be weird. But on the other hand, is it really that big of a deal to just have like a Chaos helmet or whatever? I don't know. I guess it's all really just depends on you and how you see it, so I do relay the question to you guys. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about lore accuracy in the game? Do you think lore accuracy can potentially make or break the game? Do you think it's as important as people think it is? Do you think we're gonna get chaos customization in PvE operations? We will see. I'm definitely excited for the new mode though. So even though there's a lot of talk about chaos in operations, I'm more interested in the chaos in PvP, because when it comes to chaos in PvP and customization in there, it's probably going to be a lot to look forward to there. So yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. And thanks for watching.